For the fourth time in 2 years, Fox 11 is confronting a man accused of selling sick and dying puppies.
For years, he's been operating throughout the Southland, but now our investigations have caught the attention of law enforcement. Fox 11's Bill Malugian joins us live right now with the results of a 10-month investigation.
Wow.
And guys, it really seems like the story that just never seems to end. We've been tracking Gustavo Gonzalez throughout all of 2018. He is still using fake names while he illegally sells sick puppies that often die within days, some just as recent as a few weeks ago. I do want to warn our viewers, some of what you're about to see in this story tonight, it's going to be really hard for you to watch, especially if you're an animal lover like I am. But we feel it's really important to show you the reality of what can happen when you buy an animal off of Craigslist at a discount from someone whose only motivation is your money. The video is hard to watch.
It's okay, girl.
It's even harder knowing that little Layla never had a chance.
She lasted 3 days. That was sad.
Julie took her last breath in her owner's arms.
Once I realized that she was gone, I couldn't breathe.
Stella brought joy to her new family, but within days, she was gone.
We had so much hope going, and the hope was all dashed. It was gone.
And with little Raglan, smiles would turn to heartbreak and a final goodbye.
I wanted her to know that we were there with her through the end.
Chance, Isaiah, Huey, Sky, all of these sick and dying dogs were allegedly illegally sold to their owners by Gustavo Gonzalez, a man Fox 11 is now confronting for the fourth time in 2 years.
Do you remember us, Gustavo? Do you remember all the lies you gave us last time?
But this time, law enforcement is there too.
He's moving. He's moving.
And justice is knocking on the door.
And I know your history of selling sick puppies, okay?
Fox 11's investigation of Gustavo Gonzalez first began in early 2017. That's when we found he had sold several dogs that would later die of parvo to customers responding to his Craigslist ads.
It was parvo, and I lost her 6 days after I purchased her.
We confronted him not once.
You're done selling dogs?
Yeah.
On Craigslist?
Honestly, like, I'm not going to do this anymore.
Not twice.
You promised us not using another name.
No, I'm using the same one.
No, you used Joshua to her.
Oh.
Daniel was the last one.
But 3 times in 2017.
We've confronted you about this 2 times already, man.
Yes, sir.
And just last week, this happened again. So why? What's the explanation?
I'm trying to figure it. I mean, I don't want to be on camera.
It all brings us to where we are now.
Have you ever been so angry that you feel like you're broken?
This Victorville man asked us not to use his real name. We'll call him Craig. Craig tells me when he saw one of Gonzalez's Craigslist ads in July, he met him at a parking lot in Torrance. $700 later, he came home with an adorable golden retriever he named Julie. The other dogs loved her.
We need a fire truck.
So did the kids. But within hours, she began vomiting and had diarrhea. And after a trip to the vet, she was diagnosed with parvo. Treatments didn't work, and Craig had to make the agonizing decision to put her down.
I just looked into her eyes and I felt her drift away in my arms.
He texted Gonzalez about Julie's death. Gonzalez replied using the fake name Michael. He offered a replacement dog for the family. He said the new dog had been vaccinated for parvo twice and looks pretty good to him. Craig met Gonzalez in Torrance again and came home with Chance, the replacement dog. But just like Julie, almost immediately, Chance wouldn't eat and had diarrhea.
Oh my gosh, same thing all over again, 2 times in a row.
Chance was also diagnosed with parvo. He too had to be put down less than 48 hours after he came home.
And I feel really bad because Chance didn't get a chance.
Claremont resident Christina Maycock and her son had their experience with Gonzalez in April.
He's a jerk. Yeah, there's a place in hell for him.
Her son saw Gonzalez's online ad and met him at a Torrance parking lot. He came home with Layla for $700. But Layla's health immediately deteriorated, and she began suffering from seizures.
This dog is having a seizure.
Okay, girl. She wasn't okay. She was foaming at the mouth. She was seizing, and I could tell she was suffering, and I didn't want that for her.
Layla went to the vet where she was diagnosed with canine distemper. She wasn't going to survive.
And her arms are still twitching.
And just 3 days after coming home,
She's not responding.
she also had to be put down. Throughout 2018, I've been contacted by numerous alleged victims all across the Southland, all claiming that Gonzalez sold them sick dogs via Craigslist. Isaiah was dead of parvo within a week. Huey's owner spent nearly $10,000 treating him for canine distemper. And Sky barely survived Giardia and a host of other health issues after aggressive and expensive treatment at a vet. Fox 11 has also obtained this shocking incident report from San Diego County Animal Control. In April 2016, Gonzalez was stopped by border agents while coming into the U.S. from Mexico. He had a crate full of 13 puppies. One was already dead and smelled of parvo. Another later had to be euthanized. He told investigators he buys puppies in Mexico, then brings them into the U.S. to sell, and said he has learned his lesson and will never do something like this again. That was 2.5 years ago. Fox 11's investigations of Gonzalez eventually caught the attention of law enforcement, and animal cruelty investigators with SPCA Los Angeles launched their own criminal investigation. They invited Fox 11 to a sting operation at a mall in Torrance after they responded to one of Gonzalez's online ads acting as interested buyers. Gonzalez gave the officers the fake name Michael, and he showed up in his same black Infiniti, ready to sell them 2 golden retriever puppies.
He's moving. He's moving.
When it looked like he knew something could be up, officers made their move and boxed him in.
How you doing, sir? Go ahead and step out. Gustavo, why don't you come over here and talk to me for a minute?
That's SPCA LA's Captain Cesar Perea you hear. As he pulls Gonzalez to the side to question him, his partner removes the 2 golden retriever puppies Gonzalez showed up with and seizes them.
I believe that these puppies are part of the same puppy that you sold last week, and the one from last week has parvo and is now dead.
I go through a lot of work to not sell sick dogs.
A lot of what?
A lot of work
Okay.
to not sell sick dogs.
But unfortunately, you do sell sick dogs.
It does happen sometimes, yes.
Okay.
When it's the run, one of them can easily get sick. Not with me, but with the person taking care of it.
The problem is a lot of times people get their dogs home and they're already sick. So you weren't in Mexico recently picking up dogs?
No, I went to Mexico to get my wisdom tooth pulled out. Look at it.
Okay.
Captain Perea then took Gonzalez's paperwork and promised a full investigation of his actions.
We know who you are, we know what you've been doing, we know your MO.
Once Captain Perea was finished with Gonzalez, we moved in to confront him, now for the 4th time.
Oh, we have this guy again. I'm not talking to the news.
And you can bet he wasn't happy to see us.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Do you remember us, Gustavo? Do you remember all the lies you gave us last time? How many times are we going to do this? Why do you keep selling sick dogs, man? Gustavo, come on, man. How many times are we going to have to do this? All your lies, all your fake names?
Lies?
Yeah.
No.
Did you not tell him your name's Michael?
Gonzalez then pulls his cell phone out and begins to film us.
Selling dogs that die just for a few bucks, huh? I hope you feel good, man.
The 2 puppies SPCA LA seized from Gonzalez were taken to VCA Los Angeles, where they received medical care from vets. And just days later, Gonzalez lost a court hearing when he tried to get those dogs back. After the sting operation in July, Gonzalez has brazenly continued to post his online ads. At least one of them used the fake name Josh. We've learned he's now renting out this house in Downey to sell puppies out of. And it's here where he's allegedly victimized even more families in recent weeks.
He's a true scam artist. He knows his business. He knows what to say.
Long Beach couple Carrie and Michael Grover tell me in late September, they responded to one of Gonzalez's Craigslist ads and met him at the Downey house to buy a puppy. $750 later, Raglan would become the newest member of their family.
How happy are you?
Oh yeah, she's cool.
In this photo of Michael holding his new little girl, you can see Gonzalez in the background, right after he made the sale.
We got her on a Saturday, and by Monday I knew something was wrong.
Raglan was vomiting and had diarrhea. A trip to the vet would confirm their worst fears. She tested positive for parvo, and after $3,500 spent trying to save her life, the Grovers had to make the tough decision.
Kind of your final goodbyes and just letting her know we loved her and we tried and we wanted the best for her. We wanted her to be our dog forever.
Thousand Oaks resident Bruce Hamilton knows the pain In early October, he also went to Gonzalez's house and bought Stella for $750.
The dog immediately had diarrhea. The second was in my car. And he brought out a puppy pad type of thing to make sure that it was on the seat. So he knew what was going to happen.
Sure enough, Hamilton says by the next day, Stella wasn't eating or drinking.
She pretty well collapsed. We said, I got to get this dog to a vet.
Stella's test came back extremely positive for parvo, and the vet determined she was only 5 or 6 weeks old, far too young to be sold legally. Just 4 days after she was sold, Stella vomited one final time and stopped breathing while Hamilton's son was holding her.
He said, Dad, I got bad news for you. And I said, what? And he said, Stella died last night. I just stopped. Tears flowed. I'm sorry, a man isn't supposed to cry. But bang, it was the news.
SPCA-LA President Madeline Bernstein tells me their investigation of Gonzalez is still in progress, and they continue to interview new victims coming forward to make their case as strong as possible. And once their case is complete, it will be referred to the LA County District Attorney's Office to be considered for criminal prosecution.
It would be inappropriate for me at this time to comment on anything regarding the actual case. However, it is an ongoing investigation, and if there are more victims out there, we want to hear from you, and we will continue to work this until there are no more victims.
And as for the alleged victims who have already come forward, they want justice. Justice for Julie, for Chance, for Layla, for Stella, and for Raglan, all dead after being sold by this sick puppy peddler.
It's sad to think that we're now a community. We're a community of victims of this guy.
I hope that he gets jail. And when he gets in jail, that he is put in with other prisoners who are as big a dog lover as I am. And he's going to have a miserable life, just like he gave to the dogs that he was selling.
And this year alone, I've been contacted by nearly a dozen of Gonzalez's alleged victims, and we do know of several other puppies that have died after they were sold by him. Unfortunately, there's just so many of these dead dogs, we couldn't possibly fit them all into this story tonight. Now, for that reason, SPCA-LA believes there are other victims or people with information out there, and they want to hear from those people. They're asking any potential victims or witnesses to fill out an online form at spcala.com/Fox11, where this is an entire section related to our previous stories as well as tonight's story. They can also call at 877-812-4241, and obviously any information is provided that is strictly confidential.
You can understand the people calling for justice. So where does this case stand? What happens to him?
So the number one question, the elephant in the room, is why hasn't he been arrested yet? That's what everybody asked me. The case is still in progress. It's not as simple as them going to the parking lot like the sting operation and linking them up in cuffs right then and there. They have to have evidence. In order to get an arrest warrant, a DA has to sign off on it. So they're collecting the evidence right now, interviewing as many victims out there to make their case airtight. And what that includes is they're going up and down the Southland. They're picking up the bodies of these dead dogs. They're doing necropsies. They're interviewing the vets. They're crossing all their T's and dotting all their I's in an effort to make this case as strong as possible. When it's done, when they feel like they have as many victims as they need, it will be presented to the DA. Then it'll be in the DA's hands on whether or not they want to prosecute it. So.
My heart breaks for the dogs, not just the sick, dead dogs, but these families are victimized actually twice because they spend hundreds of dollars on the dog, then thousands of dollars trying to get them healthy. I can't believe he's still on the street. It's pretty.
It's heartbreaking, and we're all animal lovers. It's hard to watch, and we'll let SPCA-LA do their thing, and we'll see what happens. And obviously, we're going to stay on this story because we've been following it for 2 years now.
That's right.
So,
Okay.
They'll be wanting your video. All right. Thanks
well done,
much.
Bill.